Sunday, double bubble.
Hey guys, can you hear me okay? Thank you for being here on such short notice today. I usually don't go live in the evenings, but I guess the evening crew is back on track, just like when we started. um, but no, there are some amazing new information about the Sean Daugherty case, and you guys need to know what's going on. There is a lot that we as web sleuths and people in the community can do to help launch this case even further. There is just so much to go over. So I hope you guys can grab a drink, get a snack, get a blanket, whatever you like, because we got to get into some things. And you know your girl Eve is going to be heated about it. So let me see who is all here right now. All right, we got Heather. Girl, are you psychic or something? She says, grab your drinks and snacks, fam. See you soon. Sorry I'm late, by the way. I have been mopping floors all day, cleaning. Hey, Mr. Eve. Mr. Eve says, I am not going to be in the chat tonight, but I wanted to tell you and my gorgeous wifey that I am so very proud of my girl Eve. And without all of you supporting her, she wouldn't be able to do this. That's very nice. Thank you, Mr. Eve. Mr. Eve is in California right now. Everybody give some hearts, whatever color you prefer, because his grandfather had a stroke. And that's where little Eve is as well, going to visit grandfather. So, praying, hoping that, he has a speedy recovery and it's not something too serious. So give him some hearts. Hey, Tales from the Fort. Linda Fontaine. Maha. I probably said that wrong, and I'm sorry if I did. Double bubble. Okay, so Miracle. I knew you were going to be in here looking and saying that. I accidentally played the double bubble video from Billy Joe in the case of Quentin Simon, and it popped up, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go live. I'm not doing my little video that I made. No. Whoops. So anyway, who else is here? Sassafras Calf. Hey there, let's get the show on the road. She's like, I am sick of waiting. Chris Melcher, thank you for being here. Seats on the streets. Thanks for bringing this out for us. Of course, of course. Whistle While You Lurk says, hey, Mr. Eve. Always stick by our girl. Thanks, Mr. Eve. Sending love to you and the family. That's very nice. Miracle says, it fit so well if it was bad. I know. Double bubble, boiling trouble. I guess that's my new nickname, right? Okay, so let's get serious here because this is a serious matter. Sean Daugherty's case is very troubling, as we all know. So if you don't know anything about his case, Sean is 12 years old, 12-year-old boy. He came home from school, off the school bus, and went to his home. And his grandmother, who lives there, was watching the 2-year-old and had to go get a CAT scan or something at the doctor's office. So she was running out. The mom who was in the car who was taking her to the doctor's appointment, which was only supposed to be like 30 minutes tops, 30 to 45 minutes. She had talked to Sean multiple times. So it wasn't supposed to be like a long drawn out thing. This was at 3:00 when all this happened. So when they returned to the home, they were arrived with chaos because Sean's sister came home and found Sean, unfortunately, hanging in the backyard from the swing set. Trigger warning if I didn't say that. I'm sorry if I didn't. But it's a very horrific case. And I just, the mother is one of the strongest people that I think I've ever come across. For her to be so tenacious during a traumatic expense, getting little things like DNA while she's saying goodbye to her son on a gurney. Like this. I. It's been a hot minute since I've been almost destroyed by a case like this. Yep, trigger warning. Hey, Birdie, Jeep Girl, thank you for coming in, Justice Janie. So getting right into it, because I don't have long. I just wanted to kind of give you an update from the family themselves through a lovely creator who reached out to me, who wanted me to, do this for them because they think that I have a niche with thinking outside the box, and and I'm glad that they think that. But so do my viewers, so do my members. Like, you guys have a really good grasp on true crime and, arguing with me per se. Like, if I have an idea, you're not afraid to come back and say, well, that doesn't make sense, and here's why. And I appreciate your openness. So that's why I think they wanted me to play this stuff for you guys and get this information out there, because we need law enforcement to not pigeonhole their thinking and their investigation that this is a suicide, when there's so many red flags. And a mother's intuition is one of the most powerful things that you can have as a woman, hands down. So I'm going to play this video that she sent me for now. They're coming in series. Like I said before, these videos are being made as we go. The Facebook, what happened to Sean, has been shut down. You heard me right. The one with all of the information and all of the things that we went over has been shut down. Now, I don't know if that's because the complaints and the quote unquote violence, right, that Facebook sometimes will flag you for true crime stuff. I'm just so mad about that. Like, something's up with that. Yeah, you heard me right. So it's almost like they're trying to be silenced and, shut down. And not on my watch. Not today, not ever. Right? So I ain't about that life. Sassafras says, my instincts guide me. It's human nature. Correct. And as you should. Like, if you were all logic, if everybody was all logic all the time, we would be more wrong than right. I can tell you that. So let me get this video pulled up for you guys. Give me just 1 second. I also have the autopsy report. Now, when they requested it the first time, it was denied because there was, and I'll read this to you because I have that. Then I'm going to show you the response the second time. I can't show you the actual autopsy. I was asked, the autopsy report, I was asked not to, but I could read from certain sections. So I didn't get the entirety of it. I only got little clips of it because, unfortunately, there's pictures in these autopsy reports and, some pretty gruesome details that maybe they don't either want people to know about, or it's just a respect thing. But what they found was very interesting. And we're going to go over that. So give me just a second and let me get that video up for you guys. Sorry, guys. It's just taking a minute to load. This case is like eating an apple and someone telling you no, it was an orange. Right. Exactly. So this is basically a shout out to the community of everyone who has shared Sean's case, you know, and this is straight from Ramona, the mother of Sean. Sorry, I don't know why it's taking so long to load. It's always like that when you're in a hurry. All right, one sec.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, it's loading snail speed. Okay, here we go.
Thank you so much for listening to the message. Thank you so much for spreading the message. Thank you so much for standing with us. It makes us stronger. We want to make sure that all the kids in the community are safe because we know that Sean was murdered. Jared and I are very, very grateful and thankful for all the support we have received. It's very hard because we have also smaller kids and they ask questions, you know, and it's been very hard. I am amazed daily basis on the bravery. We have tips where people come forward and I can tell they're afraid, but they came forward and they want to share and they want to tell and they know what happened is wrong. They want to make things right. That is so uplifting. That gives me so much strength. And I think at that moment, that is not hard for me. It's hard for them because they have to live with that. And if they cannot say because they're afraid, that's a bigger burden to carry. Anyone who is trying to help, you can sign the petition, email, call, write, congressman, any legislative, anyone who you think can help, or how you guys have been tagging. That's how the podcasters heard about it. I don't know all the podcasters. I didn't even know there's this beautiful community that supports each other so much to talk about these kinds of issues. It's amazing. And maybe they do realize, but maybe they don't, how hard it is on daily basis to read about Sean. It is very emotionally intense because we are talking about the case, correct? It's like watching a movie and it's a cold case. But then when I slow down, it kind of hits me. It's my son. When it's hard, it was harder for Sean, not for me. He was just 12 and he deserves justice. Sean was always very simple. He didn't do eloquent, big plans, simple. He would say, Mom, just fight for me.
Isn't that heartbreaking? It's just so heartbreaking. But you know, she definitely wants everyone to, not only does she appreciate everyone, but she wants people to keep fighting because it is picking up steam and people are listening. The community is listening, which is one of the biggest keys because tips have been sent in now where they weren't going to be before, right? So please, I put the change.org petition for what happened to Sean. right here. If you could please sign that. And it says, Sean Daugherty, 12, passed away at his home in Yorktown, Virginia on 4/14/22. Under suspicious circumstances, we are starting a petition to the Virginia Bureau of Investigation as well as the FBI in hopes that they will take the case over and investigate properly. Our local sheriff's department, the York Poquoson Sheriff's Office, has failed us, and our rights as victims have been violated. Help us get justice for our son and take a killer off the street. I have already signed this petition as many times as I could. Maria, the sister, says my brother deserves justice. Stacy says, if what I'm reading is all true, I'm sick to my stomach that it wasn't investigated further. Yeah. And the killer had not been found and could still be in our area. Like, that's a big deal. Huge deal. Like, how do we know that y'all have investigated this to the fullest degree? How does a 12-year-old boy with no history of depression or anything do this atrocious act while he's watching his 2-year-old brother, who he loves? He was making straight A's. He had just got back from a Disney cruise, and they were going to another one that went to Alaska, or like an Alaskan cruise. And he was excited about that. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make a lick of sense. And that mom knows it, the family knows it, and I think we know it too. I don't think I've ever heard one person say, oh, except for professionals who, aren't biased, right? They've seen some things, and I get that. But this is just so different. Like, you don't have to be a professional to see the red flags at all. So this is what a mother does, welcomes all help. Porn Lover says, I work nights and I love when you come on in the evening. You know what? Maybe I'll have to do a morning and an evening live, because I know not everybody is a morning person and not everyone's a night owl, but I'm both. I'm all over the place. She seems like a sweet woman. Yeah, she really is. And at first she seemed like a steamroller when these videos were coming out, because she was desperate for help. Like, she just needed somebody to help, and she was very matter of fact, and everybody was some people were kind of like, good Lord, like, that's suspicious. But I have to remind everyone to please, this happened in April and no one was really talking about it until Harsh Reality and me and other creators were bringing it up in August and September. And that was barely getting any traction, and other podcasters. So at this point, she has probably depleted emotionally, right? I know, I just want to hug her. This is what a mom wants: exposure to help get justice for their baby. Have you heard of Jalik Rainwalker? We need coverage of his case. No, I haven't, but I will. No, I haven't heard that. I don't think so, but I'll write it down. Done. I'll take a look. Thank you, Sasa. Marmar noticed some parents are grateful for the strangers on social media who care about their case. Sean's mom, Gabby Petito's parent, Jolis's dad. Can you post that link? Yeah. Let me pin it for you. Pin it right now. Yeah, please go sign that petition so that somebody else can take over the case. I don't know if she's done this, and maybe Val, who I speak to about everything, the one that's provided the information needed. I wonder if they've already filed a complaint, like an actual complaint with the state about that sheriff's office, because that's, I think, how it starts. Is she Russian? I can't remember. Yeah, but she's from somewhere else outside of the United States. I just can't remember. Awesome. Yeah, send them all day, girl. This is my true crime channel, and I don't think true crime's ever going away. So let's get into kind of the situation of where we are now. I have videos on the specifics of this case. All right. If you want to go watch those to catch up, please do. It just to save time. You're going to have to watch those to get all of the details. Okay. Because there's a lot. I'm wondering if I should go through the first message of when she requested. Yeah, so when the mom requested the details of the autopsy report, it was denied. And I'm gonna bring it up and see exactly what was said. But there was two. There were two. All right. So the first Freedom of Information Act request for the death investigation. Okay. They responded, York County responded and said, due to this investigation, basically, we're still doing the investigation and we can't disclose it at this time. This person says, I have spoken with the investigations division supervisor who advised the investigation into your son's death is not yet completed and investigators are awaiting the final determination and paperwork from the office of the chief medical examiner. They anticipate receiving that information within the next few weeks. Once that information and paperwork is received and reviewed, the investigation will be completed and we will be able to release the information related to your request at this time. As long as no new information is received that will prevent the investigation from being completed, we will keep your request on file and provide the information requested as soon as possible. So at that time, and guys, remember, this is still an open, active investigation. All right. Keep that in mind. It's not closed. It's still open and active, which is very funny to me that you would go ahead and say, because of the medical examiner's report, that's what our investigation entails. You can always go back to, law enforcement can always go back to the medical examiner's office with new information and say, can you reevaluate this autopsy report? Because they're only going based on what they are being told, which one of the detectives was there, and I believe the sheriff. So they're getting this information fed to them. They don't know where Sean's clothes are, by the way. The ones he was wearing when he submitted his homework after he got home. Yeah. Finished his homework and then committed suicide, law enforcement. Come on. Whew, don't get me started. They don't know where they are. There was the glasses. They brought back the glasses that Sean was wearing and one of the lenses was broken. So all of these little weird things, like they don't even know exactly where some of the evidence is that I'm sure the mother would like back to get tested or reevaluated somehow. But if you don't have it, how are you going to do an investigation? A thorough one. And that right there to me is like, that's where the complaint is. That right there. Yeah. Not to mention, the sheriff is running for, I believe, a Senate seat. So there's that. He doesn't want that, that shit lingering on while he's trying to get a seat position. So, the Facebook page is up, by the way. Sasa says, I want to FaceTime with you. It's a bit complicated. We can make it work. Okay. This is just crazy. You're right, though. Yeah. I like when people say that. Killer looks. I'm just kidding. Glad you're here, hon. All right, let's get into the second request email and then the autopsy results. Let me look if I have it. I don't know why, Val, when you sent it to me, it like pulled it up in a weird format. Odd. But I got it to work. All right, here it is. I think I can show you this one. If not, just like text me, Val. But here was the request. So September 15th, 2022. All right. This was sent to me on by the family through a third person. It said York Pocosin Sheriff's Office, JD Diggs Sheriff, September 15th. Mr. and Mrs. Rivas, I have checked on the ability to provide you with a copy of the report. I have been advised that we must follow the requirements of Virginia Freedom of Information Act regarding the release of the investigation files from this section. It only allows for the release of records in completed, unattended death investigations. Unfortunately, we are unable to close this investigation as completed because we are awaiting analysis and reports of submitted evidence. Because these analyses are being performed by entities outside of the control of the York Precoston Sheriff Office, so I would assume either the state or the FBI, right? We do not know when we will receive the analysis results, but we are checking on the status. Wait. Entities outside of the control. Oh, I'm sorry. That's probably like drug tests and all that stuff through just the company. We do not know when, but we are checking on the status regularly. Once the results are received and if no other investigative leads are developed, we will be able to complete this investigation and release the report at that time. In accordance with this section, we will only be able to release the report to the parent or if there is no living parent to the most immediate family member, which both parents are living. And as long as the person requesting the report is not a person of interest or a suspect in this case, which I highly doubt they are. So it says the 911, they had filed a Virginia Freedom of Information Act request for 911 center recordings. So we all know about 911 recordings. Good God. During an investigation, it's very hard to get those if it's a criminal investigation and it's active, because that is 911 recordings are the first initial, like, what happened after discovering whatever it was that they're calling for. It's a big deal, and they want to keep that close to the vest if it is a criminal investigation, and they don't want anybody to know about it. That's why we don't have Summer Wells, Michael Vaughn's released, other children, right? So, because the prosecuting attorney's office wants to keep that. So it can't be released, and in the meantime, we still offer you the opportunity to meet with us and representatives of the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner to discuss your concerns and try to answer any questions you may have. So, I wonder if they had this little note prior to this, because I remember, what was it, in April or May, the sheriff was like, we have told them many times that we, can work together and talk about these things. And I'm sure they did. But how are you going to make such decisions about what happened to Sean so early, and you don't even have the analysis results yet? And you're telling the parents that this is what's going down already? You should have never told the parents that. You should have done a thorough investigation before saying a word. Obviously, you feel like this is a suicide. You said it on a platform, on the news. Am I missing something here? Are you telling me in September 15th, 2022, you don't have everything that you need and you're telling the parents what you think happened and that's it because of the autopsy? This is just crazy. This was negligent. That would be key, right? Am I alone here on this thought process, or am I overthinking it? Because usually I would understand one thing saying, we think this is it, and we're waiting on this, that, and the other, so we don't want to, give you false hope. That's how we're looking at this right now. That's what they're saying. But, and I just think that this was so mishandled, like grossly mishandled. So that's what they got. And they only got specific little things from this autopsy result. And I only got a few things that I can share with you guys, and then I have to go. I'm sorry. But over time, they're going to start releasing more and more information as this case progresses. So I will be more than likely putting that out there for you guys. So now, trigger warning. Trigger warning. This is about an autopsy of a 12-year-old little boy. All right. This is not easy. I might even get a little choked up because of when I was reading it. I was just devastated. Trigger warning. That's all I can tell you. If it's going to bother you, please come back, or stop watching. So, pathology diagnosis. Let me pull these all up, and I hope that I don't put them on the screen. There we go. I'm going to start with pathological diagnosis. 1, hanging. I can't show you guys this stuff. I'm just going to summarize it because that was what they were requested. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to honor that. So pathological diagnosis, hanging. Found partially suspended by a shoelace type ligature attached to a swing set in his backyard. Reportedly had a bag over his head and a belt keeping his arms at his sides. Let me repeat that. Reportedly had a bag over his head and a belt keeping his arms at his sides. Reportedly clothed in a button-down shirt and underwear, with pants and glasses found nearby. Am I hearing that right? With pants and glasses found nearby. That's a new one for me. Did anybody else know that, or am I late to the game? Oh my God. Nearby? Why would you have your pants and your glasses over here and they're broken? Look, I have only read the second sentence and I'm about to lose my shit. This is ridiculous. Never apologize for what you must do. I just tweeted this out with hashtag Sean. Good. Please do. Thank you. I'm good at smoke a bowl. Good Lord. I feel you on that. Birdie says, I have questions. Yeah. I bet you do. I have questions too. I have a lot to say. So, okay. Upward sloping ligature furrow on an anterior and lateral neck consistent with provided ligature. Intact hyoid bone and laryngeal cartilages. Superficial hemorrhages and muscles immediately underlying the ligature furrow. Anterior and lateral neck. So that makes sense that there would be hemorrhages. No other neck injuries identified. No peritchi. I don't know how to say that, but I know what it is. Of the eyes where the blood vessels break. Facial skin and oral mucosa. I just want to say one thing, Ramona, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry if it seems insensitive, sweetheart. It's not. I'm just trying to get the information out there so that people know, exactly what it is. All right. No stocking glove lividity visible at the time of autopsy. Purple feet described at scene, where the blood was pooling to the feet. Red purple discoloration of hands seen in the photo taken by family at the hospital. Red purple discoloration. So pulmonary and cerebral edema, swelling. Yeah, makes sense. That makes sense because of how he was found. Additional findings: superficial abrasions of the forehead, right cheek, and right shoulder. Superficial abrasions of the forehead, right cheek, and right shoulder. Okay. Abrasions. Okay. Looks like that sounds to me like somebody may have punched him. It says no life-threatening blunt force trauma identified. Sorry, my dog is I think, sensing something. No defensive or scrimmage type injuries. No ethanol or other drugs detected on postmortem toxicologic testing. I am at a loss for words right now. Oh God, I have a spammer in chat. Yeah, I'm hearing something outside. Sorry. Patikia. Thank you, Sasa. Thank you. But I just cannot believe this. Sorry. Okay. So the next bit of information that I can share with you, and I have to go. External wounds. Dry pink abrasion of the right forehead. Dry pink abrasion. So maybe skin was, you know how whenever you scrape your knee, I'm assuming. Very faint pink abrasion of the right cheek beneath the securement device for the endotracheal tube. Okay. Superficial pink abrasion of the right shoulder. Healing scabs on the left elbow, thigh, and left knee. How? Healing scabs on the left elbow, left thigh, and left knee. So maybe something happened beforehand, but I wonder how fast a scab would happen. Scabs are pretty quick if it's not a big wound, right? Ligature furrow, dry tan brown to the orange indented furrow passing over cartilage. Let me just summarize this because it's going to confuse a lot of people and myself. Dry tan brown to orange indented furrow passing over the cartilage of the throat and sloping upward because of the bag over his head. And so it was from the string. So it was a bag over his head and the string from one of the bags in the garage. That was what was over his head. And that's how he was hung, right? Oh, it's so hard to talk about. Focal areas of dried abrasion are noted. The furrow is less distinct immediately over the Adam's apple where the abrasions are. There is a wider but less distinct area of orange-purple discoloration with dry red abrasions. Wow. Whew. Likely corresponding to the location of the knot on the ligature. I mean, you would have to really knot that thing either. Let's look at it from both sides. If you were to commit that on yourself to unalive, you would have to make sure that that would be something that you could do efficiently, however that knot is, so that it will do the job. I don't know if a 12-year-old boy would be able to or capable of having that mentality. I just don't. I just don't. But someone else who is hiding and waiting, yes. Or maybe has done this before, yes. Yes, I do. Right? I need to start wearing my glasses when I get on here. I know. That's what I'm doing. The family found blood in multiple places in the house, so you wonder from where he was bleeding. All of that can be seen if someone is daily from some of her. Yeah. Our bat high-end. It's little red dots. Okay. That's my nurse, Heather. Sounds like his face was scraped by rough surface, probably. Yeah. Concrete or asphalt or wherever he was. I don't know about the stairs if it's carpet, but carpet burns? It's not good. Okay, I have to hurry through this. I'm so sorry, guys. I will make a video that's kind of more candid and more professional sounding, but there is just so many red flags here. There's so many. So, okay, that's just a bruise or a ligature from the collar cervical neck brace. Ligature, a gray woven shoelace type string with 2 cut ends, a knot and 2 ends with aglets, is examined following the autopsy. So, like a shoelace with the ends that are closed with that plastic. The autopsy is to remain in the custody of Detective Davis. The ligature is consistent with the ligature furrow. There is no visible hair, skin, or blood on the ligature. No ethanol or drugs detected. No, and this is the post-mortem toxicology reports. The history, this is what they say. Trigger warning. Found hanging in the backyard, pronounced dead at the hospital. That's the history. Oh, there's a little bit more. When found, Sean was partially suspended by a shoelace type string that was tied around the top of his swing set and looped around his neck. Trigger warning. He reportedly had a nylon bag over his head and a belt placed over his arm. Let me say that again. He reportedly had a nylon bag over his head and a belt placed over his arms, keeping them at his sides. Keeping them at his sides. Okay. He was wearing a shirt belonging to his stepfather. A pair of jeans and Sean's glasses were found on the ground nearby. No note was found. I'm sorry, but aren't you going to take your glasses off if you're going to do this? A 12-year-old boy. Not going to worry about his glasses, but they were found nearby. He was wearing a shirt belonging to his stepfather. A pair of jeans were found nearby. Now, I want to tell you guys that the underwear that he must have been wearing that day was found in the in the bedroom, in the parents' bedroom. And it looked like somebody had gone through the dressers in their room, which is obviously what Sean was wearing, his dad's shirt. He had no chronic medical problems, no history of substance abuse, and no known history of depression or suicidality. Police investigation raised the possibility of bullying at school. And apparently the mother said that that was something that happened in December. This happened in April. It was already squashed. It was already dealt with, and nothing had come of it since then. All right, so an autopsy, Sean was found to have an upward sloping ligature furrow on the front sides of his neck. And we already went through that, which is consistent with the ligature of, we've already talked about it. A few superficial abrasions were present on Sean's forehead, right cheek, and right shoulder, possibly sustained when he was pulled down or during resuscitation attempts. And that's a potential. No life-threatening blunt force injuries were present, and no defensive or scrimmage-type injuries were present. So, what do you guys think about that? Like, does it just scream there's something wrong here? Birdie says, did the family have the blood tested in the home to see if it matched Sean's DNA? They did call, and begrudgingly, the law enforcement officers came back and did that. But there was something said about the blood not being there when Sean was there, and then later on, it was like weeks and weeks later, they came back and took a picture, but they were like, it wasn't here, and then showed a picture of the day Sean was found. Like, that's a very specific photo for you to take, sir, and compare it to a very specific photo of a stain on the wall. I just didn't know they would do something like that, but okay. It's weird to me. It doesn't sound right. Investigators tested all of the places, but police are not providing results from what I understand. Yeah. There was no other DNA other than Sean's on the floor. Sean's on the knot, which led us to believe only he tied that knot, yet doesn't offer any analogy on chemicals that the rope may have on it. Suspect, yes. Jennifer Hitchcock says, did you say arms belted around side? Correct. I would like to know how you do that to yourself. Not that I'd ever want to do it to myself. I'm just really curious because that's crazy. Limiting torso activity does act as an inhibitor to breathing properly. Thank you, Sasa. Yeah, so the belt was wrapped around so tight that EMT had a very difficult time releasing him, apparently. From the belt, right? And there's an investigator that was at the hospital that came to the house that said to the I guess the sheriff or whoever was there and said, this does not sound right. This doesn't look right. We need to look into this further. Now, I don't know who that is. I don't know if they're speaking out, but I just know that even they said there's something wrong. So, sorry. I'd be interested if Sean had recently seen this movie because the cause and manner of death are that similar. Maybe we'll get into that. I know what you're talking about. But guys, I have got to get out of here and skedaddle. I'm so grateful that you're here with me late at night to discuss these very, very hard details about Sean's autopsy. And thank you, Val, and thank you, Ramona, for doing what you do and keeping resilient on this case. We're going to get Sean's case reevaluated by another entity. There's no other way. I will be devastated with you if this does not, if we can't do that. But we're going to try everything we can. Please share. Please sign that petition. Share the petition. Just let's get his name out there. You know, that's how you do it. People are tipping in. People are doing everything that they can to help Sean. By the way, real quick, the community, I wanted to tell you guys, here's what's going around in the community. Not only are tips being brought in and, people are listening and being heard now, this is what they're saying in the community, that law enforcement is definitely looking into, or the community thinks that this is something of a sexual nature, sexually driven crime against Sean. And I have a feeling that they might just have a right direction on that. But that's the direction I would assume law enforcement would have gone due to the circumstances and the weirdness of everything around his case. And it breaks my heart to say that, but the reality is that that could be a possibility, and that's horrific. And they need to take this seriously right now. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. Forensic astrologer says, Eve, you have a great memory of all the details. I try, baby. I am not perfect, but I do my best. Yep, sign the petition, please. Thank you, guys. You know, as I say, drink your water. Justice for Sean Daugherty. Law enforcement, do your job. Hug yourself, your babies, your fur babies, your grandbabies. Justice for all these missing babies, and justice for Sean. Thank you, guys. Have a great night, and see you on the next one. Bye.